renovated back in the early 2000s, I believe it was. We intended to put the median back, but the merchants did not want that. So again, we altered the plan because the merchants were here all along, and they felt strongly about it, so that's why the cars remained in the middle. And now if you look, let's see, go ahead, next one. So one thing I wanted to mention is that when you are a planned town and you think about the evolution of a city, it's like there's a road, and then there's one street on each side usually, and that's the main street, and then there's houses and so forth. Well, think about starting with a blank slate. And they set aside land for downtown Kingsport to support a city of 50,000 people, which is what we are now, but they envision it being a much more condensed version. So we got curious because we could work all day long and never feel like we made any accomplishment because there was so much to do. I remember the first time I thought about this was when Terry Duncan was at Carriage House down here. We bought their property for the Higher Education Center, and they were trying to find another location. And I said, Terry, if I could take every business in downtown Kingsport and line them up down Broad Street, what an awesome array of businesses that would be. But Carriage House is 3 blocks this way, and up against the wall is 5 blocks that way, and they're all spread out. And isn't that what we kind of do when we have closet space in our house or we have storage space? We kind of just expand. Misorganization. We just expand to fill that space rather than cull and plan and so forth. So Johnson City has 100 acres in downtown Johnson City. There's 346 in Nashville, 209 in Asheville. Bristol has 99. Kingsport has 229 acres. So we have 2.2 times more than Johnson City and Bristol to take care of. So when you look at State Street, and when you look at the small footprint of downtown Johnson City, you have to keep that sort of in mind. The other thing I want to mention is this is 1954, and I know you can't see this picture because it's very faded out, but this area as late as 1954, now I was born in 1961, and basically everything east of the improvement building was empty over to Kingsport Press. And I remember them talking about a baseball field being out there, but I don't remember it, but it was just empty grass fields. And in some cases there was actually grazing taking place. So that was the industrial area, the riverfront was the industrial area, this was the downtown. So when you think about evolution of cities, that's not the way it usually works. So it did give us a clean palette to kind of work with because we were able to go in and buy up all of mostly automotive stores that were west of Clay Street and put them together for the Higher Education Center. And so next. So 1958, this is what it looked like. And of course, this is the one I think that I hear the most recollections. You look down through here and you've got the guys that look like they just walked off Happy Days, and you've got the 1950s cars parked down Broad Street on both sides. By this time the median had been removed. It was actually 4 lanes. I never did quite understand that exactly. There was 4 lanes and parking coming down Broad Street, and then folks, of course, what was the thing to do? Cruise Broad. You can go to the Circle, turn around, come back. Go to the train station, turn around, come back, and you got to see all your friends. And so it was kind of a cool thing. We do have a master plan. I would encourage you to go check it out on the Downtown Kingsport website that we slowly but surely try our best to work towards. So up here in the upper left-hand corner, you see the outline of Town Park Lofts. We have future hopes and designs on having more like that over in that area. But there are green spaces, park spaces, and so forth that we continue to work toward even today. So planning is an ongoing process, of course. And by 2016, when you look back that way toward the higher education campus, what used to be one story, there were automotive, they even had the pit, where they would change oil, and it was just a hole in the ground, basically. We had to clean all that up. And a couple of funny stories there at the intersection of Clay Street and Market Street, there is a little grassy knoll, I call it. Have you ever noticed that? It's not flat. You know why that's there? Because when we tore the buildings down at that location, if you carried it off site, there were special concerns that you had to mitigate. If you left it on site and you planted grass on it, then and it was okay, you could leave it that way, and you saved a whole bunch of money. So anytime that you see anybody with the government doing something and you want to scratch your head and wonder why, think that there's probably a federal or state law that's driving them that way. But that, I call it the grassy knoll. And then the kind of, to cap things off, are you familiar with the art piece that's at the intersection of Clay Street and Market? It sort of looks like an artist's palette. So the artist that did that used Eastman Triton plastic. So the inserts are Eastman Triton plastic, and they're translucent. It is a map of downtown Kingsport, and it is angled to maximize the effect of the sun. So when the sun shines through it, it projects a map of Kingsport on the ground, and of course it moves like a sundial with the community, or with the sun. And the base was made of recycled brick from Kingsport Press. And the idea was that heavy industrialization, manufacturing, and was our past, and education is our future. So it's called the learning curve for that reason.